Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really remarkable figure.
Absolutely. A woman whose story gives us this incredible blueprint for assertive faith and just immense personal strength.
We are diving deep into the life of Sulaym.
And what's so fascinating, right, is she has these two specific, almost legendary historical moments tied to her.
Okay.
Well, first, she set possibly the most unconventional yet valuable dowry mohar in history. It wasn't about wealth at all.
Right. And the second?
The second is the incredible honor she received. The prophet himself described her place in paradise. You can't really get higher praise than that.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack this. Our goal today is really to explore her life using authentic sources, especially Sahih Muslim.
Tracing her path
Yeah.
from, this respected woman in pre-Islamic Yathrib.
To becoming this foundational pillar for the Muslims in Medina.
Exactly. And just to clarify her identity first, she's mostly known as Sulaym.
Which means mother of Sulaym, a common way of naming the kunya.
Right, though interestingly, that name probably came from her younger brother, not a son named Sulaym. Her actual given names were Rumaisa or maybe Rumaila.
And there's a really crucial relationship here, isn't there? It explains a lot about her closeness to the prophet.
Yes, she was from the Banu Najjar clan.
And if you remember the history, that's significant because they were the maternal relatives of Abdul Muttalib.
The prophet's grandfather. So that connection made her essentially a maternal aunt to the prophet.
Not just a title, then.
No, not at all.
I
It explains why he visited her home so often. It was about maintaining those family ties, offering comfort, that kind of unique closeness.
Okay, let's paint a picture of her before Islam reached Yathrib. What do the sources tell us?
Well, she wasn't some minor figure. She was known for her beauty, yes, but also her strong character, very independent-minded.
Assertive.
Definitely assertive. And she was already married to Malik ibn Nadar,
Who was a pretty big deal himself, right? Rich, noble.
one of the wealthiest, a traveling merchant. So he'd managed to avoid some of the local conflicts.
And unusually for women at that time, she was literate.
Yes, knew poetry, which is important context. It tells you she was intelligent, established, her choices mattered.
So her conversion wasn't just a quiet personal decision. It was significant.
Hugely significant. When Musab ibn Umair arrived in Yathrib to teach Islam,
The very first preacher there.
she was apparently at his first Dawah gathering, and she accepted Islam immediately. No hesitation.
Some sources even say she might have been the very first woman in Medina to convert.
Think about that conviction. And it was tested almost right away.
When her husband Malik came back from his travels.
Exactly. He comes home, finds her teaching their young son, Anas, this new faith. He was furious.
And he used that derogatory term.
Al-Saboti.
Yeah.
Basically calling the Muslims fools.
But she didn't back down.
Not at all. She corrected him firmly. No, she said, I haven't become foolish, but I have believed.
Just straight up.
Completely. Malik just got angrier, started shouting, threats, told her she couldn't corrupt their son.
And then he left.
He left, went off to Sham, Syria permanently. And he died there, still not a Muslim.
Which is tragic when you think about it.
It really is, especially considering the incredible legacy Anas would have. Malik missed out on all that continuous reward, the Sadaqah Jariyah.
Absolutely. And Sulaym's reaction to being widowed under those circumstances.
It shows her core strength. She lost this powerful, wealthy husband. She could have panicked, remarried for security, maybe doubted her new faith.
But she didn't.
No. Immense patience. She just focused on raising Anas as a Muslim. No rush to find another husband. Her faith came first.
That steadfastness really sets the stage for the next major event, doesn't it? The famous dowry story.
It does. Section 2, the dowry of faith. So being noble, beautiful, and now widowed, she naturally got proposals.
Including one from a very prominent man, Abu Talha.
Oh, yes. Abu Talha was, well, he was quite the catch. Known for his good character, kindness to the poor.
And incredibly wealthy, right? Maybe the wealthiest in Medina.
Probably owned more property, more palm groves than anyone else. A really distinguished figure.
So when he proposed, her refusal must have been a shock.
Especially the reason for her refusal. It wasn't about him or his money. It was purely about faith.
What did she say exactly?
Very direct. I'm a Muslim woman, and you are currently a disbeliever. You are not halal for me. Not lawful.
Wow. Okay, Abu Talha must have been taken aback. Did he think she was just negotiating?
Probably. He offered more gold, more silver, like significantly more.
Thinking that was the sticking point.
Right. And that's when she made her counteroffer, the legendary one.
The dowry.
She said, if you become Muslim, that will be my mehar, My dowry. I don't want anything else from you.
Just Islam. That was it.
Just Islam. Think about it. She's turning down immense wealth from the richest guy in town.
And she didn't just state her condition. She reasoned with him, too.
Yeah, subtly challenged his beliefs, pointed to his wooden idol. You worship this thing carved from wood you'd burn otherwise.
Doesn't that seem a bit silly?
Basically, yeah. How can you worship something that fire destroys? Her sincerity, her logic.
Yeah.
It hit him.
He realized she wasn't playing games. She genuinely valued his faith above all his wealth.
Exactly. He thought about it, went back to her, and accepted Islam right then and there.
And the wedding itself. Who performed the nikah?
Her son, Anas. He was only about 10 years old at the time.
Incredible. And this led to that famous historical statement.
We do not know of a single woman who had a better mehar than Sulaym, which was Islam. It just perfectly captures the priority.
It really does. And that priority shaped their whole family life, didn't it?
Absolutely. Which brings us nicely into section 3, family dedication and prophetic blessings.
This is where she dedicates Anas.
Right. During the second pledge of Aqaba, instead of offering money or goods to the prophet, she brings her son, Anas.
And offers him as his servant.
As his kadim, his personal attendant. She just said, he is in your service until one of you passes away. Imagine that level of dedication. Giving her son.
Anas himself mentioned later how profound that moment was, what a favor his mother did for him.
And the prophet's response was equally profound. He made this specific 3-part prayer, a dua, for Anas.
What'd he ask for?
He prayed, oh Allah, bless him in his wealth, bless him in his children, and bless him in everything you give him. Very comprehensive.
And the results of that prayer were legendary.
Weren't they just? Anas lived an incredibly long life, over 100 years. He became very wealthy through his own efforts.
And his family.
Huge lineage. He himself attributed the sheer number of his descendants directly to that prayer, including 7 of his sons becoming hafid of the Quran, memorizers of the entire book.
7 sons. That's extraordinary. Talk about blessing.
Manifest blessings. And this dedication, this connection, it fostered that unique closeness we talked about earlier.
The prophet visiting their house more than any other?
Yes. Taking naps there sometimes, praying 2 rakahs in a specific spot she set aside as a musalla, prayer area.
And it wasn't just casual visits you mentioned. There was a reason tied to grief.
Right. It goes back to that kinship. 2 of her brothers had been martyred fighting alongside the prophet. So visiting her and her sister Haram was an act of mercy, of comfort for their loss.
Showing that deep personal care.
Exactly. And you see that care in these small, beautiful anecdotes, too.
Like the perfume story.
Yeah, collecting his sweat on a hot day, mixing it with her perfume because she considered it the purest scent. Or asking for and keeping half his hair after Umrah. Tokens of deep love and respect.
There's also a story with a bit of humor involving an orphan girl she was raising.
Oh, right. Yes, the prophet was teasing the girl, playfully said, may you not get older.
Oh, no. The poor girl must have been terrified.
She was. She thought it was a curse, like she'd die young or something.
So, Sulaym had to step in.
She did, and the prophet gently explained. For a believer, things like aging or trials aren't curses. They're means of purification, of drawing closer to Allah. It was a teaching moment wrapped in kindness and humor.
It shows such a relatable human side to their interactions.
Definitely. Okay, so moving into section 4. Her strength wasn't just, quiet patience or theological debate. She was involved in the tough stuff, too.
On the battlefield.
Yes. Present in basically every major battle. Not fighting directly, maybe, but serving. Carrying water, tending the wounded, supporting the effort.
Watching the prophet's back, as the sources say.
Literally, there's that famous incident at the Battle of the Trench, Kondak.
What happened there?
Abu Talha noticed she was hiding something under her cloak, her abaya. It was a dagger, a knife.
Whoa! What did she plan to do with it?
He asked her, and she gave 2 reasons. First, if any enemy tried to attack the prophet from behind, she'd stab them.
Fierce protector.
Absolutely. And second, she said if she saw any Muslim soldiers trying to flee the battle, she'd use the knife to push them back into the fight.
Wow. That's intense. Holding the line, both physically and ideologically.
Exactly. It's an incredible level of commitment, especially for a woman in that active war setting. It wasn't just self-defense. It was about total dedication to the cause and the prophet's safety.
And her husband, Abu Talha, shared that level of devotion, right?
Completely. It was a partnership built on faith. Remember the verse about spending from what you love.
Quran 3.92.
Yeah.
You will not achieve righteousness until you spend from what you love.
As soon as Abu Talha heard that verse revealed, his reaction was immediate.
He gave away his best property.
His absolute favorite, his garden, Biruha, known for the sweetest water right near the Prophet's mosque, he just stood up and said, "Okay, this is for Allah, distribute it for charity." No hesitation, gave away the best thing he owned.
That really defines their approach, doesn't it? Giving the best.
It does, and their house was a source of blessings in other ways, too. There's the miracle of the food.
Right, the Baraka story. Tell us about that.
Okay, so one day, a young relative, Anas's uncle, I think noticed the Prophet sounded hungry. He told Sulaym,
But they didn't have much food.
hardly anything, a few dates, maybe enough bread and butter for like 4 people. Very simple, meager amount.
So what happened?
The Prophet told Anas, go invite about 10 people. When they came, she told them to sit. Then he took the small amount of food, made a prayer over it, blessed it. Those 10 men ate until they were full. Then another 10 came, and another 10, until 80 men had eaten their fill.
80 men, from food for 4.
80 men, and the sources even say there were leftovers that fed the family for quite some time after, like 2 months. A direct manifestation of that blessing on their wealth and provision.
Incredible. Okay, so now we have to address the ultimate test. The hardest one.
The death of their son, their only shared son at that time, Umar. He got sick suddenly, a fever, and passed away.
And her reaction here is perhaps the most talked about aspect of her story.
It truly is. It's an almost unbelievable example of patience, Saber. Instead of breaking down immediately, which would be totally understandable for any mother,
She concealed it.
she concealed his death. She told Anas, who was there, don't tell your father. Abu Talha was out at the time.
Why would she do that? Delay telling him something so huge.
Her priority, it seems, was Abu Talha's spiritual state, his reaction. She wanted him to receive the news calmly, accept Allah's decree.
So she waited.
She waited, cooked a meal, made herself presentable, waited until he came home, rested, spent the evening normally. Only the next morning did she approach it.
And she used an analogy, right?
A beautiful, profound analogy. She asked him basically, if someone lends you something, a trust, and then asks for it back, what should you do?
And Abu Talha said.
You return it patiently, gratefully. It wasn't yours to keep forever.
And that's when she told him.
That's when she gently revealed that Allah, the one who had loaned them their son, had taken back his trust.
How did Abu Talha react initially? He must have been shocked, maybe angry about the delay.
He was. Understandably upset she hadn't told him immediately. He went straight to the Prophet for comfort, for guidance, and told him everything that happened.
And the Prophet's response to this unusual sequence of events.
It was remarkable. He smiled, a knowing kind of smile, and then he made a specific dua for them.
What was the prayer?
May Allah bless you both in the evening you spent together, referring to the night before she told him.
And the result of that prayer.
Immediate blessing. She conceived that very night.
Wow.
This child was Abdullah. He was the baby who received the famous tonic from the Prophet.
Where the Prophet chews a date and rubs it on the newborn's palate. A blessing.
A blessing and a tradition. And the blessings continued for Abdullah, too.
Echoing the blessing on Anas.
Exactly. He also had a large family, and incredibly, 7 of his sons also became Hafid of the Quran. The blessing in children fulfilled again, generation after generation.
Her story, especially that moment with Umar's death, it's just staggering resilience.
It is. She managed her own immense grief in a way that prioritized her husband's faith, his ability to submit to God's will, turning personal tragedy into this act of worship, almost.
So, wrapping this up, how do we synthesize her legacy? What are the key takeaways?
I think it's that radical assertiveness rooted entirely in her faith, rejecting wealth for belief, dedicating her son, her service in war and peace.
A life defined by conviction over convention.
Absolutely. And that conviction, that dedication, earned her that ultimate honor we mentioned at the start.
The Hadith about paradise.
Yes, the authentic narration where the Prophet describes entering Jannah and says the very first palace he saw belonged to Sulaym.
There's really no higher praise.
None at all. It's the ultimate validation.
So the final thought to leave with you, our listeners.
Yeah.
Reflecting on her strength during that trial with her son's death. Patience wasn't just passive endurance for her. It was an active, almost strategic act of service to her husband's spiritual well-being.
Right. She put his need for acceptance of God's decree above her own immediate intense grief. So the question for us is, what does her approach teach us about handling our own trials? And maybe even more challenging, how does one cultivate that level of selflessness, that perspective, to comfort others even when you're drowning in the same sorrow?
Something profound to think about. We'll leave you with that.